We welcome Kentucky student athletes to the dais, Shea Gilgis-Alexander, Kevin Knox, P.J. Washington. We'll remind you to please quiet your cell phones in this area. Direct your questions to individual student athletes if you would. And when you have a question, if you'd raise your hand and I'll direct one of the mic holders to you. And also remind you that the Kentucky locker room is open at this time. See media relations staff members Eric Lindsay, Deb Moore, or Jake Most. And pool reporters for this site, this session, are Bruce Pasco of the Arizona's Daily Star and Adam Jardee of the Columbus Dispatch. So with that, we'll go ahead and take questions for Kentucky student athletes.
Brandon Walton with the Auto Press Tribune. Kevin, this question's for you. Much was kind of made about Coach Calipari with his Boise comment about asking the team about if they'd kind of heard from Boise, heard where Boise was at. Can you kind of elaborate on that story? Did he kind of ask you guys if you guys even knew where Boise, Idaho was at?
Yeah, he just asked us specifically, do we know where it's at? And he kind of said the answer before he asked, so like we kind of all like got the answer, so we kind of looked at him crazy, but I'm pretty sure most of us knew where it was. We're all good, smart young men.
Hi, Rick Bonnell, Charlotte Observer. Hey, Kevin, could you sum up what you've gotten out of this season in college basketball?
I mean, I just grow so much as a person and a player. I've learned so much just on and off the court. Each coach has taught me something new that I can take and then put into my game, and I put in some work with a lot of the assistant coaches in the off season, after practice, before practice, just getting in the gym. I mean, I just learned how to be better IQ, be aggressive, help my teammates out, be more communicative on the court, being able to talk. And I just learned so much from high school to college. There's a big difference in my game now.
Hi, Peter Hugonin from The Arbiter, and this question's for everyone. When you guys were studying the game film for Davidson, was there anything that jumped out or surprised you, and do you see any potential mismatches?
Shea, let's start with you and work our way down.
Yeah, they're a really good three-point shooting team, and they shoot probably more threes than I've ever played against in my life. They shoot about 30 threes a game, and I think Coach said in the game this year they've made 50 or some crazy number, like 30 or something like that. Yeah, and it's just going to be tough to cover, but we'll be good.
Kevin?
I have to gas a little.
Yeah, Coach told us an interesting fact. They shot 150 threes, like spot-ups, and 8 off the dribble. So that kind of tells us that they're trying to shoot a lot of shots off the catch. So, and they do a lot of cutting, a lot of back doors. So we just worked a lot on defense, just making sure we stay between our man and the basket. So we give them no easy layups and no easy three-point wide-open shots.
PJ?
I mean, they pretty much said everything I was going to say. Like, we've been working on guarding the three in practice, guarding the back cuts and stuff like that. So, I mean, we just focus on three-pointers and stuff like that.
John Huang, NOLA Media. This question is for Shea. Shea, it seems like every time Coach Cal speaks on the podium, he talks about how you try to improve your game by getting in the gym, those early morning workouts. That's difficult to do. Not everybody would do that. What's different about you that would make you do something like that?
Personally, I just like to get my work early in the day before I get tired from all the other activities. It's harder to, personally for me, it's harder to work out after practice or after school and stuff like that, so I just get it done first thing in the morning.
John Patrick with KTIK Sports Radio here in Boise. What kind of coach is Coach Calipari? Is he as intense as he might seem to be? That's for anybody up there.
Let's start with Shea and then work our way down.
Coach Cal is crazy, for sure. He's different from any coach I've ever been coached by. He's intense. He's always on us, but we know he loves us and he's for us, and he'll do anything to get us better, and that's the best part about it.
Kevin?
Yeah, he brings so much passion to the game. He pushes all of us outside our comfort zone, makes us get to another gear that we've never been to before. He tries to get us to push each other as teammates, talk on the floor, off the floor, just be able to come every day and just attack the day. And he kind of brings it out of you every day in practice.
PJ?
He just wants the best from you. I mean, he pushes all of us every day in practice to be better. matching us up with different guys on the team, stuff like that. And just a great coach, and he's willing to get us better for the next level.
Justin Spears here with the Arizona Daily Star. I guess this is for Kevin. It's no secret that there's a lot of NBA players from Kentucky. I guess, has any NBA players reached out to you guys and given you any advice, and what's something that you've learned from them, just from conversations with them over the year?
I mean, yeah, in the summer, of course, they were here and worked out at Kentucky. We was doing a lot of our workouts. They was here working out with us. We played pickup with some of them, and they were just kind of just telling us just to be competitive, because at the next level, I mean, everyone's, just trying to make their own money, so you got to be able to have that edge to you. And we play with them. They just make sure that we communicate as a team. We did a pickup against New Orleans Pelicans, and it was kind of different from us because they was talking so much on defense and offense, and we weren't really used to it. So they just kind of told us to make sure that we just keep talking, because that's a big part of the game.
PJ, I know Coach Cal was afraid this was going to be a 6-hour flight for you guys, so I want to know how the flight was, because I don't think it was that long. And also, now that you're here, what has the experience been like? Just being here and then being in the NCAA tournament.
The flight was like 4 hours. I don't know why he said 6, but it's great being here so far. I mean, we got practicing already. I think we're going to get a shoot around in soon, and we're just basically ready to play. So we're happy to be here.
Shea, was there any kind of a concern that maybe with Coach Cal's comments about Boise that the fans maybe wanted to root for you guys, or what were your kind of reactions to the whole kind of Boise comments there?
No, we didn't think of it like that. We just thought he was just trying to be funny again, like he usually always is, and nothing too serious.
This is for all three of you. Davidson is probably going to come out with a chip on their shoulder. They look at Kentucky as the big name program with all of you guys headed toward the NBA. How are you going to counteract that?
Shea, let's start with you.
Personally, I think as of right now, we're playing with a chip on our shoulder. A lot of people think that they can upset us and we're the team to beat in the first round, but we obviously think otherwise, and we'll be more than ready for this game coming up.
At Kentucky, every game you play, you're going to play against somebody that's going to play the best game, so it's not like we're not used to it. So every game we've played with people that's played on this chip on their shoulder, think they're better than us, so we're just going to come out and just play like we always play, just play with an edge, come out on top, hit the team in the mouth first, and just come out and attack, and that's kind of what we're used to, so that's how we're going to play tomorrow.
PJ?
We just got to come out, like Shea said, with a chip on our shoulder. We've been having that these past couple games in the ending of the year, so we just got to keep playing like we played in St. Louis, and we'll be fine.
Hi, it's Eddie Pels from AP. I'll ask all three of you. Obviously, there's a big learning curve for guys in their first year. What do you think you've gotten better at, the most better at, I guess, if that's a word, since the season started?
Shea, let's start with you.
I think learning how to work consistently, day in and day out, as hard as you can. In high school, you didn't really have to. You were so much better and bigger than guys that you played against, so you could just take plays off or stuff like that. But learning how to work throughout a whole practice or throughout a whole game is probably the thing I learned the most.
For me, probably just being able to play outside my comfort zone and being able to fight. Like Shea said, you come from high school. You just in practice, just messing around. You're just always better than everyone, just scoring easy baskets. But here, at Kentucky, you're playing against a lot of 5-stars, McDonald's All-Americans every year. So you got to come out and just play every day in practice, come out hard because your spot could be taken. So I just learned how to fight, just play outside my comfort zone, and that's something the coaches really taught me this year.
PJ?
I just learned how to fight in practice and basically just work for everything you get. None of these guys are going to give up anything easy. You got to go out and take what you want. So that's what we've been doing every day in practice, and it's been showing lately in our games.
A question for all three of you guys. Have you guys been able to kind of enjoy Boise? What have been some stuff that you guys have kind of gone out, and what do you kind of think of the city so far?
PJ, let's start with you.
No, we haven't got out, but our hotel is nice. It's the Courtyard Marriott is kind of good, but I guess.
Kevin, any thoughts?
Yeah, there's nothing to do. We haven't really done anything. We went out to eat. That was about it. Went back to the room. And that's how it's probably going to be till Saturday.
Shay, any more travel tips?
Yeah, the restaurant we ate at was really good. That's about it. We didn't do too much. I don't know the name.
It was seafood. Seafood.
Time for maybe one more question for Kentucky student athletes. Right here, last one.
For any of you guys, Alec White from Daily Wildcat. It's no secret that you guys had some struggles in SEC play, but can you point to maybe one game or one day or one specific time that kind of changed things for you guys and pointed you guys in the right direction?
PJ?
I think the Alabama game at home. That was after our 4-game losing streak, and that was the first game we won, so it kind of changed things around for us. We started winning after that. We started playing together. And everybody started buying into the roles, and we started playing for each other.
Yeah, after the Florida game, we got kind of smacked. So we just came in together and just decided we got to step it up before the tournament. So, and, you know, we just went through the 4-game winning streak. So we just made sure that we just playing together on both ends of on both ends of the court, and just playing together as a team.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with Kevin. The Florida game is really the turnaround for us to play our best basketball this season. I think we got exposed that game on both ends of the floor, and then we really had to turn it around. We did.
All right, we'll remind you that the Kentucky locker room's open. Eric Lindsay, Deb Moore, Jake Most can help you out, and we'll bring Coach Calipari up in just a second. Thank you, guys. Questions for Coach Calipari?
Coach, John Worcester with the Idaho Press Tribune. Now that you've arrived in Boise, how happy are you to be here?
It's been great. Our guys were talking about the mountains and the views, and went to Uwe Tavern last night, had a great meal. Stopped at a couple Catholic churches in town, and then we went to DK's Donuts. I am not a donut eater, but I ate some of those donuts. I've never heard of a place, only in Boise. They're open from 4 a.m. to 9 a.m. Then they're shut down. Who goes at 4 a.m.? So I'm like, policemen, ranchers, farmers, who would go at 4 a.m.? Unless you're just getting in. And it doesn't look like a town like that. But, so we'll figure out something to do tonight.
Lindsay Schnell, USA Today. Cal, I got an off-the-wall one for you. Today in high schools across the country, a lot of students walked out in protest of gun violence. I wonder, do you talk with your guys, especially because they're so young, about social justice issues, about being involved and being aware of what's going on in the community? Do you encourage them to
I
vote?
have. We have at different times. You know, the things that have gone on before them that gave them an opportunity to be who they are, that, you know, there are certain things that if they have an opportunity and they feel like they want to make a stand, just understand the consequences. Don't be pushed to the front of the line because of your fame, so to speak, and know that you stand for everything that they stand for. So, yeah, we have discussed stuff like that.
Hi, Rick Bonnell, Charlotte Observer. Cal, Kevin was talking about how what he thinks he got out of this season was you challenging him not to be complacent, to be more aggressive, to sort of, stretch his comfort zone. Could you speak to, how that fits into your job and how it affected him in particular?
All these kids that I get when they're young, some of them stay 1 year, some of them stay 2 or 3 years, 4 years. We've graduated 17 players since I've been the coach there, so not all of them leave in 1 year. They just did a bracket. How many of you saw the academic bracket? Raise your hand. That we were playing Bucknell in the finals. So it's not just basketball. It's what we try to do academically. But here's what I would say. My first job is to get them to understand they have to conquer themselves first before they can worry about conquering anybody else. To get them to think different about how they're going to go about business. How, if you're undisciplined off the court, you're going to be undisciplined on the court. How do you get yourself to do things that you really don't want to do? How do you self-evaluate? Because people around you are going to tell you you are never wrong. It's always somebody else. They're going to tell you that, well, he never takes him out, but he takes you out. Now, you can buy into all that and never change. Or you can self-evaluate and say, I don't like where I am, which then says to you, now, how do I change? If I do the same things over and over again, I'm not changing. We had a young man this year on our team, Shea Alexander, who was in the gym at 7 a.m. shooting, who would come up in the office and want to watch tape of his turnovers, who never missed a class, never missed a tutor, was always on time, worked harder than anybody in every practice. You ready? Robert, who works the hardest in the weight room, Shea, and it's changed who he is and his opportunities and all that. So for me, a lot of this is mental, how I get them to change how they think about this. Then the other part of it is, how do you get them to understand that they got to share, that this is a team sport, that if you don't do this together, none of you will shine. That took us half a year. That Kevin Knox, okay, these guys accept you're going to shoot balls, but you got to rebound and defend now. And you're not taking bad shots because you're taking shots when you choose to. So the thing with Kevin, you have to understand, he's the youngest freshman in the country. So he could still be in high school. Sasha is the youngest sophomore in the country. He should be a freshman. These kids, because they're 6'9", and you look at him and say, wow, he's big, that doesn't mean he's a grown man. They're still developing who they are, and my job is to love them, to hold them accountable, to keep it real, to make them understand things in no uncertain terms, what works and what doesn't. Because if my guys choose to leave after a year or 2 or 3, I want them to have success. Right now, I think we have 30-some guys or whatever in the NBA who make $1 billion. Not $100 million, $1 billion. And I went in those homes. And those families trusted me with their son. And those families had dreams and aspirations, and this is an opportunity for them to realize the American dream. And I'll say it again, 17 kids have graduated. We've had 1,000 on the APR for the last 4 or 5 years, which means every kid leaves in good academic standing. Why? Because they have a lifetime scholarship. And 4 kids have already started coming back who left early. We have 5 kids that left with 60 college credits. That's halfway through. So, you know, I don't want any of us to devalue education just because a kid has a genius. When a kid has a genius as a piano player or a golf or a tennis player, it's not a big deal. But when a kid has a genius as a basketball player, well, he's taking advantage of education. No. I've had 4 straight A students. Brandon Knight would go to class and be in the gym at 11 o'clock at night. Why? You're going to leave in a month. Because I don't want to get a B. Carl Towns, Alex Porteous, I could go on, the great students. To say these kids don't belong on a college campus is wrong. And when you say those kids, who do you mean when you say those kids don't belong on a college campus? You be more specific who you mean. These kids are benefiting by this experience, and I'll tell you this, I'm benefiting because I'm having a ball. Coaching these kids, this has been as fun a year as I've had. Does that thoroughly answer what you asked me? I don't know where that kind of weaved to, but I kind of liked it.
Peter Hugonin from The Arbiter. Can you give us any update on Jared Vanderbilt?
Yeah, the kid wants to play. I mean, I don't think that it's fair to him or us if he's not able to go in there and compete at a high level. When he first started playing, I mean, this is what made this year hard. It was hard because we had all freshmen. We start 5 freshmen. 5 freshmen. I don't know if it's ever been done and have this kind of inexperience. But then Jared joined our team. And then we struggled. And then we started going good. And all of a sudden, Jared is a Dennis Rodman, 10, 12 rebounds every game he played, 15. He could have had 20. Passes, runs, athletic. Then he gets hurt. Before the tournament, we haven't played a game. We needed our tournament to figure out how we're going to play in case he cannot play. Now he wants to play, and at the end of the day, I've got to make a decision on what I think. And right now, I just don't think it's in his interest or ours that unless he's 100%, I would take 97%, 95%. But you can't take 80%. You can't. The games are played at too high a level. Great kid, and I love the kid. But, you know, my guess is that he will not play tomorrow. Didn't practice with us today, so we'll figure out from there.
Brandon Walton with the Outer Press Tribune. Coach, kind of a 2-part question here, but have you been to Idaho before? And then if you could kind of elaborate a little more on the story about kind of telling your guys if they even knew where Boise, Idaho was at.
I do stuff like that. I'll ask them about players. Do you know who Wilt Chamberlain was? You know, and some of them, who are we pointing to? No. This guy?
He's
that
next,
guy? Oh,
sir.
he's next. Okay. Whoever you tell me, you point, I'll point too. We'll both point.
We're really confused.
So I'll ask them questions. And how many of you know where Boise, what state is Boise in? And a couple of them, you know, raised their hands, and I said, do you want me to ask you? But I think they all knew. And I have been to Twin Falls, great place. I saw Eva Knievel's launching pad, and I was in the golf course down next to the river. Is it a river? Rapids. Was it a river? I was down there. And I hate to tell you, one night I drove to Jackpot, Nevada, and I was in Jackpot, Nevada, and there was sawdust on the floors back then. It was a few years ago. But what a CSI, the great campus, College of Southern Idaho, manicured. I was there for a week, so I stayed a week. And so, yes, I've been here.
DK Donuts used to be 24 hours, by the way, just to let you know. But in terms of Davidson's strengths, you know, they obviously seem like a really good three-point shooting team, and you've been a really good perimeter defensive team. Just your thoughts on kind of the matchup with that? Some of the guys are talking about how many threes they've shot as many maybe as you've seen in a while.
Yeah, look, they are a really efficient team. They're an execution team. We're an inexperienced team. We're not an execution team. They're going to take 33-point shots. If they make 20, It has been a heck of a season for us. They're taking 30. We've got to make them difficult, but they run some good stuff, and they move that ball, and they're assist to basket made. So, in other words, it's not one-on-one basketball. They're creating shots for each other. This is one of the most efficient execution teams I've seen in years. So they're not a 12 seed. They won their tournament. They beat St. Bonaventure and Rhodey back-to-back nights. They're not a 12 seed. This will be a hard game for us, and we know it. Our kids know it.
Two questions for you. Since you went to DK Donuts, did you try the bacon donut?
I did. It was unbelievable. But here's what I did. I looked at him and I went, oh my gosh. So we did the bacon and I cut it 4 ways. So I didn't have, it's this big. I only had like a little bit. And before I could get another little bit, it was gone. We were there with 5 guys. And then I did the bow tie that had the chocolate and maple together dripping off of it. Is anybody getting hungry right now? It was so much sugar that I won't sleep tonight. And then I did the apple fritter, and we cut that up. But I only had a little bit. Folks, I'm not a donut eater, even though you look at me and say, yes, you are a donut eater. I'm not a donut eater. And the coffee wasn't bad either.
And my second question to that, since you've been to Idaho before, is a potato a fruit, a vegetable, or a fungus?
You can't ask me those kind of questions. People get mad. Vice presidents get killed. They spell the thing wrong. I'm not. Don't ask me. I'm here to play basketball.
Coach Eddie Pels from AP, sorry to get off the donut food train. You were talking about kind of the history-making nature of your team with all the freshmen. Have you learned anything from this? I mean, I know you do this a lot, but...
One of the things I tell these guys all the time, I've done this 30 years, so there's nothing I haven't seen, or there's nothing you're going to do that I hadn't had to deal with. I've done it 35 years. But what you find out, when we struggled, there was a look in their eye of fear. And you learn that they're 18 and 19-year-old kids who don't know what the future holds and are looking to me to help them. When we lost 4 in a row, again, they were Tennessee, Auburn. I mean, these Texas A&M, they were all NCAA tournament teams that we lost to. 3 of them on the road. Normal teams would have lost 4 in a row. We had a chance to beat a couple of them. We had a chance with Tennessee. We could have beaten Auburn on the road. I got a text from one of the guys, Coach, we need you more than ever now. And it kind of told me that they're looking at me like, what is this? Like, we need you. Don't like jump ship on us and don't give up on us. Don't. And it got me to then sit back and say, it's, at my age, losing 4 in a row is difficult. And I stepped back and said, what am I worried about how I feel? I've got these kids that have never experienced this, and I have. And so it just led me to understand sometimes I get away with, they're big and they're long and they're athletic and they're men. No, they're not. They're young men. They need this experience. For them to grow, they needed to fail, this team. I had them raise their hand. I said, how many of you, and I call it a crap hole, you go down that crap hole and you're trying to fight to get out. In other words, you can't make a shot, you can't make a play, you stink. And every one of them raised their hand. At one point in the season, every one of them were down in that hole. And they had to figure out how to come back out of it without being enabled, because people will enable them. It's not you. It's always somebody else. It's the story of the marching band. That's a 100-member marching band in unison. And 99 turn right. And your child turns left, and you say, what's wrong with those 99? These kids, it's hard when they go down there because they are so young that they have to say, this is me, and I got to get myself out of it. They needed to fail. They also needed to fail as a team because we weren't coming together. We weren't playing for each other. We had more turnovers than assists because everybody was trying to make plays for themselves. But they had to have the adversity. And I kept saying, even when I evaluate players, I want to know how he plays when it's not going good. Because if he comes with me to Kentucky, there are times it's not going to be right because the other team's playing like it's a Super Bowl. And it's a sold-out arena, and they're trying to make their name at our expense. How do you play when things don't go right? And so these kids needed it. And I'll tell you, it's a great group of kids and their parents who've entrusted me with their sons. Good people, and we've been able to survive it.
We have time for a couple more. We'll start right here.
Greg Moore, Arizona Republic. Good to meet you.
Nice to see you.
Given the nature of this weekend, 4-game tournament, I know you're focused on Davidson, but you've got to look ahead a little bit too. Could you talk to me about a preliminary scouting report on Arizona, particularly DeAndre Ayton?
Well, first of all, I'm telling all of you, I didn't know where we were seated until I got in my car after the SEC tournament, and my phone started bouncing. I was getting so many hits. And then everybody said the same thing. They did it to you again. You're in a pod that's ridiculous. And so I know the 4 teams here, Buffalo and Arizona and Davidson and us. That's all. And I know Virginia's above us. I don't know who's playing Virginia. I don't know who else is in our bracket, and I have not looked at another bracket, nor will I. Could care less. So you're asking me to look ahead right now? I mean, they've got good players. They got a great coach. They got veteran guys. They got a possible #1 pick with great size. They're great. But Buffalo's good and has had a great year. And what I tell these guys, and again, I've done this in this tournament, I don't know, maybe 20 times, whatever it is. You can't look ahead because a lot of times you look ahead and the team you're worried about doesn't even advance. And you spent 3 days, well, oh my God, we're going to have to what? No, they got beat. Well, who am I worried about now? So I'd rather not move ahead, and I'll just stay with the game we got at hand, which is going to be very difficult for us to win.
Last two, first one right here.
Matt Jones, Kentucky Sports Radio. After you lost to Florida at the end of the season, and it was not a good performance, and then Vanderbilt goes out, were you surprised at how well your team played at the SEC tournament, putting 3 straight really good performances together?
No, I knew they were capable of it, but when you say the Florida game, here was the lesson. I told them prior to the game, when you play a noon game, again, I've done this a number of years, the team that is more ready to play usually wins the game. If both teams are really ready, it'll come down to the last minute. But if one team is more ready at noon, the other team will let go of the rope. And that's what happened to us. Again, it's an experience they had to have. Now tell me, 2 of the games we played in the tournament were at what time? Noon. They learned their lesson. Everything here that we've been going through is like an experience for them to grow. They've not been through anything. I'm a little worried them walking onto this court. I've tried to build the whole season toward this, talk about the NCAA tournament all season, but I really don't know. I have no idea what will happen. I know we're prepared. I know they're in a great frame of mind. I know I got great kids, but this is going to be an unbelievably good execution team. Do we have the discipline to stay in a stance for 25 seconds each time down and talk and move? And I don't know. But I knew what this team was capable of. I kept trying to paint that picture in their mind. This is what we are when we're at our best.
Follow up.
Coach, back to the teams you might face, and I do appreciate that you're not looking ahead. You gave a broad summary of what Arizona could do that might concern you. Could you do the same for Buffalo, please?
No, because here's what I would say. The only reason I've said that about Arizona, I have not watched them play a game this year, and I have not watched Buffalo. I just happen to know a couple of the guys that Sean has, but I haven't watched either team play. I don't know if they play man, zone, and I won't watch any tape on any team until I'm done with this Davidson game. And the reason is, if Davidson beats us, why was I watching any other tape? So, you know, I literally don't know a play they run, either team.
Coach Sullivan from the Arizona Daily Wildcat. The climate of college basketball right now with the FBI investigation going on, what changes would you like to see being made, considering you've been in homes with star athletes and the families and the environments that they come from?
Well, I'm going to ask you to maybe go back and look at what I've said in the past, because I've been saying the same thing for how many years, you Lexington guys? 4, 5, 6 years? And I haven't changed, and I believe it. I believe that for college kids, this is an unbelievable experience to have a gap year if they need it. I think kids should be able to go to from high school to the NBA. I do believe that. But I don't think we should devalue education. And if the kids do go, so there's 10 that go, 12. Why would we totally change all this? We just had the highest graduation rate of athletes in basketball and African-American athletes in basketball. We just had the highest graduation rate in the history of our sport. And we're going to upset this. You devalue education if you encourage kids. And who are we encouraging? What kids are we encouraging? Don't worry about education. You don't need education. You become a pro. So let's say 10,000 ninth graders and 10th graders say, I'm not going to do education. And who are we talking about? This isn't baseball. This is a different sport. This isn't tennis. This is a different sport. You don't need education. So when I tell you that we've had the highest graduation rate of African-American athletes in basketball, how many of those kids do you think went to school thinking they're staying 1 or 2 years? 90%? And they ended up getting a college degree. We just got to make sure we're taking care of kids. And I've talked about it. I don't want to get into it because this is about this NCAA tournament. But there are things that we can do to have a combine after their junior year to recommend you need to go to the NBA. The rest of you need to go to college. Do we need a baseball rule? Why? If these 15, 18 kids went to the NBA and the other go to college, they're going to have to stay 2 or 3 years, or they'd have gone to the NBA. So we don't need all that. And if some kid like Anthony Davis grows from 6'3" to 6'11", and he wants to leave after a year, why? What's wrong with that? But it won't be 10 or 12 because they went the year before. Not hard. How do we support these families? I didn't want to do this, but now that you got me started, how do you support these families? I'm in these homes. These families have dignity. They don't want anybody involved in their lives. They want to do it themselves. But if you look in that refrigerator and there's a can of corn in there, they may take something. But if they can do it themselves, they do it themselves. Let them get loans. Let the kids that have loans for their insurance, which we already give, if you're eligible for that insurance, then we loan you the money there. We'll loan you the money for your families to travel. If your family wants to move to a town, they can take a loan and do it. And then we eliminate all this stuff. I haven't met these families again. They want their child to have the best opportunity. They want their child to be with people they trust. And we just got to help them. I come back to this. Any decision we make, if we say, is this right for the kids? You'll be right. If you don't worry about the kids and you worry about the sport, you don't make the right decisions for the kids. And this is all about the kids. I say this with all respect. A 17-year-old going to the D-League, who's overseeing him? What if something happens? Who's responsible now? What happens for these kids that come to college? They'll tell you it's the best experience ever. I've never heard a player say, man, what a great year I had in the G League. Not one. Not one. But they'll come back and say, my year at Kentucky was the best year of my life. Well, why are we looking at one player and saying this is what college basketball is? I do have a right to talk about academics. And I know you say, well, your kids leave early. 17 have graduated. We have 1,000 on the APR for 4 or 5 years running. It's us and Bucknell. Please look at that that one there that said, when you do by academics, it's Kentucky and Bucknell. Now, I will say Bucknell beats us, but we're right there, fighting hard. I just think that we can do stuff, but to say, let's throw this stuff away because of a couple things, I just don't agree with it.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.
All right, we welcome Arizona student athletes to the dais. A couple reminders, please silence your cell phones in this area. When you have a question, please raise your hand. I'll direct a mic holder to you. And if you can direct your questions to an individual student athlete, that would be helpful. We have Raleigh Alkins and Alonzo Trier. And let's begin questions for Arizona student athletes.
Brandon Walton with the Out Press Tribune. This question's for both you guys. It's obviously been kind of a chaotic month for you guys in this program. Just if you could just kind of talk about what's that kind of been like to just kind of having to deal with that distraction, but still playing good basketball. If you could talk a little bit about that.
Raleigh, let's start with you.
I think off the court stuff, we don't really worry about that. We're focused on the court. We're focused at the task at hand, and that's winning. And we just take everything game by game.
We're just focused in on taking it day by day, worrying about trying to play our best basketball every time we step on the court. There's nothing else just to take away from our focus of that.
Hey guys, this is also an off-the-wall one. Today, a lot of high school students across the country walked out of their classes in protest of gun violence and gun control. I wondered if you guys have ever talked about that as a team, if the two of you have thoughts on gun control.
We haven't really talked about that as a team. To be honest with you, I wasn't aware of that. I didn't know about that stuff. But I don't think it's right.
Yeah, that's something we haven't talked about as a team. I wasn't aware of the protest that happened today, but there is something that needs to be done about that. I don't know if we have the biggest voice to have that opinion of if it's going to change anything, but I'm sure something needs to be done about that.
Greg Moore, Arizona Republic. Raleigh, good to see you again. Lonzo, good to see you, man. Could you guys talk to me about your opponent, Buffalo? What do they bring? Are they, is there anything that you're concerned with, anything that you've seen on film that you need to really lock in on?
We know that they have the number 15 pace in the country, so they play a fast tempo, and they have 4 guards on the court at all times. They're kind of a small team, but they still play tough, that East Coast toughness, and we know it's going to be a battle tomorrow.
Alonzo?
Yeah, we respect them a great deal. We understand they have a great pace. We also understand that they're one of the top, 5 points per game scoring teams in the country. So they're really, really good on offense with what they do. So it's going to be a great challenge for us defensively, and we respect them a great deal.
Well, Peter Huguenin with the Arbiter, and this question's for both of you. You guys were seated lower than a lot of people had predicted. Do you think there's any particular reason for that, either being part of the West Coast or the FBI investigation?
Raleigh?
I don't think so. I don't think the FBI investigation has anything to do with seeding. But that's just my opinion. I don't know.
Alonzo?
Can't get worried about where we're seated or what's going on, anything like that. In order to win, you got to beat them, no matter who it is. So all we can do is focus on every time we step on the court playing our best basketball that gives us the best chance to win in advance.
Christopher Bowen, Tucson Local Media. I guess this is for Raleigh. What do you guys plan to do to kind of slow down C.J. Massengale from Buffalo? I don't know how much you know about the guy, but he's 6'3". He's averaging more than 7 rebounds a game and 16 points a game.
How much rebounds is that?
What's that?
How much rebounds?
7.4 to be exact. So I guess what are your guys' plans for stopping that core 4 from Buffalo that are all averaging double digits a game?
We're still going to do what we do. We don't really have like a game plan for the one person. It's to stop the whole team. We're going to play team defense, and we're just going to try to play our best.
A question for both you guys. It really seems, like the program and the school really could have stood by, your coach. Just kind of talk about the support that you guys have kind of lended to Sean Miller kind of during this, trying time.
Lonzo?
Sean Miller's our basketball coach. He's leading us down the right path. All we're focused on is basketball right now, nothing else.
Raleigh?
Just the same thing that he said.
More questions for Arizona student athletes? All right. One more. We'll take one more.
Last one for you. This team is, despite, all the outside noise, this team has still done really well. Winners of 5 in a row. Just what's it been like, both you guys can answer, for this team to just still play the best basketball despite a lot of the outside noise? What's this team been able to do to kind of block all that stuff out and still play great basketball?
Raleigh?
I think you asked that in the beginning, but it's just the same thing. Just focus on the task at hand, and that's winning. And we understand with team success comes individual accolades, and we just want to win the championship.
Alonzo?
Not really worried about what anybody's saying or what's going on outside of the basketball court, and us being at our best. Trying to put together the best run we can, play our best basketball, and see where it takes us. That's all we care about. That's all we're worried about.
All right. Thank you, guys. welcome Coach Miller to the dais. Remind you to raise your hand when you have a question. I'll direct a mic holder to you. And for more help with Arizona student athletes or coaches, please see Matt Enser or Jeremy Sharp.
Sean John Huang, NOLA Media. It is a very, very difficult time to be a college basketball coach in this day and age. A lot of coaches talk about managing distractions. What have you done to manage all the distractions around your team and getting them to focus and play at such a high level?
Well, I think it starts with you have to really attempt to control the things that you can and to block out the other things that you can't. You know, for us, whether it's anything off the court, an injury, a tough loss, you know, you want those types of things that are adversity filled to build your team, to build character in the players on your team. And, you know, for us, I think we're playing our best basketball as we enter this tournament. That doesn't mean we get a chance to stick around or we're automatically going to win because of that. But I think our team has shown a lot of resolve, and it's been through some of those obstacles that we've had to overcome.
Sean, Brandon Walton, Idaho Press Tribune. Can you talk about just what it means for you to be the head coach of the Arizona Wildcats? What does it mean to you to be the head coach of this program?
Well, the University of Arizona is one of the great programs in college basketball. It's not anything that I have done. When I showed up in Tucson 9 years ago, Lute Olson built the University of Arizona's basketball program, and he did it with decades of excellence. Players like Steve Kerr, Sean Elliott, Damon Stoudemire, Jason Terry, Luke Walton, and I'm almost embarrassed because I've named them all that didn't play for me. You start to name the players that have played during our stretch over 9 years. You know, there's quite a few. Solomon Hill, Derek Williams, T.J. McConnell, Nick Johnson, you know, Lowry Markkinen last year, DeAndre who's playing with us, and I've left out 100. So it's been a foundation of great players and great teams, and it's an honor to coach. Our crowd, if you've ever been to McHale Center on a college basketball weekend, there's no more pageantry anywhere else. So to answer your question, it's an honor to coach at Arizona.
Lindsay Schnell, USA Today. Sean, today across the country, a lot of high school students walked out of their schools in protest of gun violence and gun control. I wonder, do you talk with your kids about social justice issues? Do you encourage them to be involved, be aware, vote, that type of thing?
You know, certainly we talk about a lot of different things, not just basketball or sports related, but off the court. You know, you try to teach your players. You try to allow them to be independent. If you just think about being on a university's campus, you're there to grow and form your own opinions. And that's really what being a student athlete is all about, that you get that opportunity. Oftentimes, you know, the court is your best classroom, and then you learn other things. But clearly, those types of topics are always discussed. And at the same time, all of our players come from different families, different walks of life, backgrounds that allow them to have their own informed, educated opinion.
Well, Peter Huguenin from The Arbiter. While you were preparing for Buffalo and studying the tape, was there anything that surprised you or jumped out at you about how they play?
No, Buffalo is a really good team. Any team you play in this tournament, you know, is capable of beating the other team because of the great parity in college basketball. But I look at Buffalo, if you're from the MAC and you win the regular season championship, and then you follow that up with the tournament championship, you're a really, really good team. And I think they have a real confidence about them. They're a tough matchup. They score the ball as easily as any team that we've played. Oftentimes in that conference, they're guard and forward heavy, but they may not have a big guy. But Buffalo does. They have a couple, but Perkins in particular is a center that I think could play at any program in the country. So we know that it's going to be a difficult challenge. That's what we expect. And our focus is on that, just trying to play our best.
Hi, Sean, Jerry Sullivan from the Buffalo News. I know you've made your statement about the investigation, but I'm wondering if you have any thoughts in general about changes that could be made in a sport where the culture, there's so much incentive to bend the rules that the FBI could get involved.
I made my statement.
Joe Masada from SEC Country. Sean, the other day, John Calipari said that your grandmother basically raised him and that your guys' relationship goes way back. Can you just talk about that a little bit?
He's right. It's really amazing, but his family and my family have been connected since we were born. And he was an assistant coach at the University of Pittsburgh when I was recruited there. In large part, I went there because of him, and certainly have a lot of admiration for him, not just as a coach, but also as a person.
Jay Tusk, KTVB here in Boise. Sean, I know he's not on your staff anymore, but Ben Tucker is a local kid that was born and raised here in Boise. So I was just curious, what do you think of his coaching prospectus in his future?
No, Tuck is he's one of my favorites. He did a great job as a manager at the University of Arizona and has become a coach with us, has left us, and now he's at Santa Barbara doing an excellent job. But he's a great person, number one, and I think he has a future to be a head coach one day. And he'll make Boise proud if he hasn't already.
So according to a lot of the experts, they projected you being seated higher than you actually were. Do you think there's any contributing factor to that, you're being on the West Coast or the FBI investigation?
No, I think the tournament selection committee has a difficult job. We're a 4 seed. We're in Boise, excited to be in Boise. On a personal note, the last time I was in Boise, we got to the Sweet 16 10 years ago when I was the head coach at Xavier. So when you return to a city that you won in, you tend to like it even more. So we're excited to be here. We know we'll have a lot of fans, and most importantly, it doesn't matter where you're at or what your seed is, you're going to face a very good team. And if you don't play well, your tournament will end quicker than you want it to. So our focus isn't on, again, the things that we can't control as much as it is to be as ready for Buffalo as we can be.
Considering kind of all the distractions over the last month, your team has thrived, have won 5 games in a row, another Pac-12 title. How as a coach, how good has it been to see your team kind of respond that way and still play good basketball despite all the distractions kind of surrounding the program?
You know, I'm incredibly proud of our team, the players on our team, the families of the players on our team. Sometimes when adversity strikes, it can really rally a group of people, can bring out the best, a closeness that maybe you otherwise would have never felt. And I believe that about our team. That doesn't mean that because of that we're going to win. There's a lot of teams that are in this tournament that feel the same way. But I do think that we've played our best over the last month. Our defense has improved, and sometimes the starting point with defense is a closeness and an unselfishness. And I believe that our team has grown in both of those areas, and that's a big reason why our defense has gotten better.
Sean, Cal was in here about 20 minutes ago talking about he hasn't watched you guys all season. He doesn't really see anyone except his team and whoever he's scouting. Do you watch basketball in your free time? If you guys have a late tip, do you watch games during the day? Do you watch your brother, or does it make you too anxious?
No, I watch basketball, but, to his point, you're so consumed with your own team, practice that day, the team that you're getting ready to prepare for. It's like this tournament. You'd be surprised how unaware you are of even the other 7 teams that are here and who plays who tomorrow, because for us, it's about getting ready for Buffalo, and you get that single-mindedness that maybe takes your ability to really follow people that you care about in other teams. But that's what I would say. I have a son who's in high school. I have a hard enough time getting to watch him play, let alone, another team in the country. But you're right. If I would watch one other team or 2 other teams, I would watch Indiana and Xavier because of my connection to both.
Sean, kind of a 2-part question. I mean, you mentioned how much it means to you to be the head coach of Arizona. If you could maybe talk a little about kind of, what the last kind of month has been like for you, and just what does it mean to kind of see the support that you've kind of gotten from the university and your players, during this time?
I'm very fortunate. Dave Hickey and Dr. Robbins, our president and our athletic director, that they have been as diligent in listening and learning and staying with me as they have been. I'm grateful. You know, our fans are amazing. But, you know, the two groups of people that I really hone in on right now is my own family and in our team, in our program, the parents of our players, you know, and those are the people that you know love you. Those are the people that you're the closest to. And whether it's a season that you don't want to end or, you know, having three sons that you don't ever want to see hurt, you know, that's really what you try to focus and stay in the moment with. A lot of the other things, you know, they're on the periphery, and everybody learns that when you go through different things.
Sean, you have strong opinions one way or the other on the one and done rule. I know you're benefiting from it this year, but a lot of people think that it ought to be changed.
You know, I really don't. I really don't have an opinion one way or the other.
Pels from AP. Has this, all that's gone on over the last several weeks, made you like this profession more, or have there been times where you wish you could go to Hawaii and call it a day?
You probably know the answer to the question that you asked. You know, like I said, I think it's coach speak to some degree, but there's nobody going to put what I'm about, you know, what I'm saying in that category. You know, for you to be successful in a high-pressured environment with a lot at stake, a lot of different things going on, you know, your emotions have to be aside. It's about what can you control, who really matters. And I think if you focus on the things that you can really control and you surround yourself with people that really matter, meaning that they love you unconditionally and that you're in charge of them, whether you be a coach, a parent, teacher, then that's going to be your best way. And that's really what I've attempted to do, and I've probably improved at doing that as well.
Sean, have you ever been to Boise or Idaho before? And, you know, kind of do you feel, since you guys are pretty close proximity to Idaho, you feel like a lot of fans should maybe root for you guys here at the NCAA tournament here in Boise?
Yes, I was here a decade ago in the NCAA tournament. We played Portland State in the first round, Wisconsin in the second. We advanced to the Sweet 16 when I was the head coach at Xavier. So we have fond memories. And yes, you know, the thing about our fans, we were in Providence, Rhode Island a few years ago in the first round of the NCAA tournament, and you could hear the U of A chant. It doesn't matter where we go, our fans will be prevalent, but I would expect that we would have quite a few fans here.
So, Sean, you're a defensive guy, but this team has been a little different. They haven't been as good defensively all year. With that plus all this off-court stuff, how is this kind of manifesting itself with your stress level? Like, do you feel like you have more gray hair this season as a result of trying to get these guys to play defense?
No, our defense has really improved over the last 2 or 3 weeks, almost astronomically. And again, I think that's a function of the closeness of our group, the unselfishness of our team. You know, you can sense sometimes even in our earlier practice today if your group wants to continue to play. And we have that. That doesn't mean that it's going to win out and we're going to beat Buffalo. But I do think that we have a closeness, a togetherness. We've played our best here at the end. And, you know, offensively, you can look at that question two ways. The other way is we also are a really good offensive team. We have some answers on that side of the basketball. We've played very well as far back as November on offense. And recently we've really cut our turnovers down, which I hope we can do tomorrow night as well. So it's the combination for us of improved defense and continued offensive excellence that I think is our best recipe to stay in this tournament.
We have time for a couple more. We'll start here.
This is kind of a two-part question. DeAndre makes up such a large part of the offense. Do you see that possibly being a potential issue in the tournament as you progress? And also, is there any plans to try to get Alonzo more involved in the tournament than he was in the Pac-12 tourney?
It's a good question. We have balance on our team. Alonzo Trier, he's had an incredible season. He hasn't played maybe as well offensively recently, but his defense has been the best it's been all year. I mean, he shoots over 50% from the field, 40% from three, 80% from the foul line. He averages right below 20 points per game. So that's him. You have Raleigh Alkins, who I think brings a toughness to our team that separates maybe us from some others. Parker Jackson Cartwright at the point guard position, Dusan Ristich at the center position. They're seniors. Dusan is the all-time winningest player in Arizona history. When you think of some of the great players that have played in our program, that's quite a testament. Parker's now second. So they've been involved in a lot of games, so we have some experience as well. But DeAndre, he stands out because I haven't seen a player like him. And I think he's the best. He does it on defense. He does it on offense. As his coach, he does it every day in practice. He has an energy and a smile about him that makes him fun to be around. He's exceptional. And, I hope this tournament gets a chance to see him at his best. If you watch the Pac-12 tournament, you watched a player play at a level that you won't see very often.
We're going to have to make this the last question right here.
Greg Moore, Arizona Republic. Good to see you, Coach. Could you talk to me about Alonzo and DeAndre as a 1-2 punch, and how would you defend against that? What do you do with those two?
Well, the key is for us to get both guys playing well in the same game. I think that's when we're really tough to deal with. Alonzo can do a lot of different things offensively. He's not one-dimensional. He's a high free throw attempt player, gets fouled a lot, shoots a high percentage from three, clutch at the end of games, and he has over 100 assists, which is, I think, the biggest improvement that he's made from the time he's walked in the door to now. With DeAndre, he can score a number of ways as well. He doesn't score just in the low post. He's averaging, I think, over 5 or 6 offensive rebounds a game over the last maybe 5 or 6 games. Makes free throws, gets fouled. So, for us, it's just a matter of playing team basketball, being unselfish. And I think those two guys, they have a way of scoring. You don't have to call their number for them to score. They're going to score as long as we're an efficient, unselfish team. And both of those players are very unselfish.
All right. Thank you, Coach. We'll be back with Davidson student athletes in a few minutes. All right, we welcome Davidson student athletes to the dais. Peyton Aldridge, Kellen Gray, Rusty Regal. We'll remind you to please silence your cell phones while you're in this area. Pool reporters for this site this round are Bruce Pasco of the Arizona Daily Star and Adam Jardee of the Columbus Dispatch. And we'll ask that you direct questions to an individual student athlete if you can. If you want all three to answer, you can mention that and we'll sort it out up here. And when you have a question, please raise your hand and we'll direct a mic to you. We'll start right down here with questions for Davidson student athletes.
Hi, Rick Bennell, Charlotte Observer. Peyton, someone asked Coach Calipari a little bit ago to size up what sort of a threat in Davidson is. And his quote was to the effect of, they're going to take 35 threes. And if they make 20 of them, I'm just going to tell my kids, well, it's been a terrific season. To what extent is the three potentially an equalizer in this situation?
Well, we definitely spread the floor at all five positions with everybody being able to knock down the three. And we definitely try to get it inside out to get some easy ones to fall early. And if we can knock down some threes, we're pretty tough to beat.
Of the arbiter. What was the feeling like of the team, and what is it like now, going into the conference tournament, knowing that you had to win in order to get into the tournament, and then going into the tournament and winning it?
Yeah, going into the tournament, we just wanted to take it a game at a time and just have fun, as much fun as we could out there. We didn't want to put any pressure on us. We just wanted to take it day by day and just enjoy the time that we had left with each other and just continue to just fight for each other.
John Huang, NOLA Media. This is for all three of the student athletes. You guys have to have been dreaming of this moment. You know, big stage, bright lights. How do you balance the joy of knowing that you've made it and just glad to be here with the focus that's required to survive in advance?
Rusty, let's start with you and work our way this way.
I would say throughout the season, Coach has prepared us so well for this moment. You know, we played in a tournament in Hawaii, and then we had the experience of playing in this recent tournament that we won in D.C., and, you know, it's just about taking it day by day, game by game, and preparing the same way we have for all the other games we have this season. And Coach preaches just joy in the moment and being happy with playing and, you know, loving what we do. And I think every one of us is happy that we're with this team, with each other, with the coaches, and it's just a family that we're ready to win with.
Kellen?
Yeah, just to reiterate what Rusty said, I mean, this was definitely a dream come true for all of us, and there was a lot of excitement, especially after winning the conference tournament, which I think was expected. But you have to ground yourself and realize that, you know, we still have to play, we still have more basketball to play, and despite all the excitement and the thrill of making it to the NCAA tournament, you know, we still believe we have a very good chance of winning tomorrow, and we have a game to play. So we're going to play with joy and with confidence, but also with a tremendous amount of focus.
Peyton?
Yeah, Rusty and I have fortunately had the opportunity to make the tournament our freshman year as well. So we've been here before, and we believe that that's a learning experience for us, and we have older guys on the team that have that experience of being here. So like they've said, it's a great opportunity, and we're happy to be here, but we're not just content with being here. We want to go and win some games.
John Wistro, Idaho Press Tribune. This is for all the players. This year marks 10 years since Davidson's run to the Elite Eight. How much does that just, you know, kind of loom over the program, and how much does that team inspire you guys?
Peyton, let's start with you.
Yeah, I mean, that run 10 years ago was incredible. That was a great team. Obviously, Steph Curry, great player. And a lot of us look up to that, and we see that in the back of the mind. But we don't really think about it as being 10 years ago to this year, and now we're back in the NCAA tournament. But it definitely is a team that showed great care for each other, and they didn't want to let each other down, and that's something we try to back on with this team.
Kellen?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think that was 10 years ago, but it's definitely a motivation for all of us. I mean, we believe we're capable of making a run as well, and it's cool to see that Davidson College has had success in the tournament before, and it gives us belief that under Coach McKillop and his tutelage we'll be able to do something similar this year.
Rusty?
Yeah, I mean, that team absolutely left its mark on Davidson and the program as a whole, and you can see guys like Kellen and who chose to come here partially because of that run. And, you know, growing up, I was a Davidson fan. I was at 3 of those 4 games, and looking back, it's just awesome to think about we have the opportunity to do something similar, and I would love to be able to be a part of something like that.
This is for all three of you. Today, across the country, there were a lot of high school kids that walked out of class in protest of gun violence. I wondered, as college students, have you thought about the issue of gun control ever? And if so, what are your thoughts?
Peyton, let's start with you.
I've never really thought about it. I've never really thought about it too much this year, but seeing everybody step across the country, it's great to see the unity of everybody just kind of joining together peacefully. Different schools doing different things, and it's great to see the younger community being together as a whole.
Kellen?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely think about it a lot, especially with all the tragedies that have happened within the last 6 months or a year. And, you know, a lot of people are not happy with the gun laws and how easy it is for some people to get a gun. So to see people be proactive and to really voice their opinion and step out and fight for something they believe in is definitely cool to see.
Rusty?
I would agree with everything they said.
Chad Gripe with the Idaho Statesman. Rusty, since you've got the long history with Davidson, I'm asking kind of the underdog teams, you kind of count on the neutral fans to join in with you at an event like this. What would your pitch to the Boise people be, why they should support you guys this week?
My pitch to the people of Boise would be that we're a team that's entertaining, we're fun to watch. You see these guys play, the smiles on their faces, and it's just awesome watching us go out there and, pull off an upset like that would be a pretty cool thing to happen. So let's hope Peyton can hit 6 of 6 threes again like he did in the tournament, maybe 6 of 7, and Kellen can go off for 30 every now and then. So cheer us on, and we'll show you a good time.
Kellen, just to follow up to my last question, Rusty made a comment that 08 team played a part in you coming to Davidson. Was that really your first exposure to the team?
Yeah, I was 11, and my dad had just given me a magazine article on, it was a picture of Steph Curry shooting with an article following, and that's when I got exposed to Steph and the 2008 team, and he and I and the rest of my family would watch every game, and at halftime I would go out and mimic his shots out in the backyard, and then ever since I'd followed Davidson and especially followed Steph. So back in 2008 was when I was first exposed.
This question is for Rusty, Kellen, and Peyton. If you don't like his answer, feel free to chime in also. But in Kentucky, you had this big-name school with a bunch of players on their way to the NBA. How important is it for you or you guys to show that you can play with them?
I think it's extremely important. I think we all feel that we absolutely can play with a team like that. We feel like we've been playing against teams similar to that caliber throughout the year in UVA and North Carolina. Some guys on Nevada are very talented, and we feel like we're going to come out tomorrow and we're going to prove ourselves, and not that we haven't done that throughout this year.
I agree with Rusty.
So for all of you, is Steph your favorite Davidson player, or is there someone else that you guys love more that you think is underappreciated?
My favorite's Will Regal.
My favorite is Stephen Curry. There's been a tremendous amount of good players throughout Davidson's time, and I know Coach McKillop, but Steph has always been my favorite.
I would have to say Steph as well, but one of my other favorite players was Tyler Kalinowski. I was fortunate enough to play with him my freshman year, and the way he played the game was just everything he did was right, the way he did things.
As you guys were studying film for Kentucky, was there anything that surprised you about Kentucky when you were studying them? To any of you?
Peyton?
Well, we knew they were a very athletic, very long team, and that they really crashed the offensive glass and got out in transition and ran. But one thing is that they are able to spread you out as well, and with different lineups, they can really spread the floor and knock down that open three. So it'll be a challenge to be able to guard inside and out if they're knocking down threes from the outside.
I was a little bit surprised by they do a lot of baseline down screen action, and I've thinking of Calipari in Kentucky. I've thought a lot of dribble handoffs and ball screens and a lot of downhill motion, and they run a lot of stuff for Kevin Knox and some of the perimeter guys coming off screens in the baseline. So I was a little bit surprised by that watching film on them.
I'd agree.
Anything more for Davidson student athletes? All right, thank you guys. We'll dismiss these three and wait for Coach McKillop in just a couple moments. As we welcome Coach McKillop to the stage, we remind you to raise your hand if you have a question. We'll direct a mic in your area. Questions for Coach McKillop?
Peter Huguenin of the Arbiter. Going into the conference tournament, you guys probably had a feeling that you needed to win if you wanted to get into March Madness. What's the feeling like of the team after being able to go out and win the conference tournament?
Mission accomplished. We've had that experience at Davidson for many years. As members of the Southern Conference, it was a one-bid league. So we would go into that weekend in March, no matter what our record was during the course of the year, knowing that you had to win 3 games or you were going home.
Coach John Worcester with the Idaho Press Tribune. When most people think Davidson basketball, obviously they think the 2008 run. And has it hit you that it's been 10 years, and just how much role does, or how much influence does that team play on the program today?
It's hard to believe it is 10 years because it's such a vivid, treasured memory. It resonates with us every day. That spirit of that team, of that experience, hovers around our campus. So for me and for many people who have been part of the program for so long, it will never, ever disappear nor be such a distant memory.
John Huang, NOLA Media. Bob, John Calipari described your team as almost like world beaters. First of all, what is your relationship with him, and do you believe anything he says about your team?
John's first recruit at the University of Massachusetts was a young man who played for me, and I was a high school coach at the time. So it's interesting, and the boy's name was Kennard Robinson, and John went on to ensure that that young man graduated with a master's degree from University of Massachusetts and played professional basketball in the Philippines. So I trusted one of my quote-unquote sons with John 30 years ago, 35 years ago, and he honored that trust. So I trust everything John says.
Coach, this tournament gives you a chance to expose your program and your or expose new people to your program and your school. And obviously, you guys have done this for a while now. But what do you hope people learn about Davidson, see about your program as you kind of go to new places like this?
Well, in 1994, we played in the Albertsons Classic here in Boise. So I have fond memories of that. Who could not have the greatest admiration for what Chris Peterson did here with the football program? And Leon Rice happens to be a good friend, and Justinian Jessup was a kid that we recruited very aggressively. So our familiarity with Boise is very, very strong. We're thrilled to be in this marvelous city. You understand why people want to flock to come and live here. And of course, being on a national stage like we are, and having it in this venue, which is going to attract a great crowd, is indicative of kind of the athletic spirit that lives here in the city of Boise.
So as you're preparing for Kentucky and watching film, and probably the first thing that pops out is their length and their athleticism, how do you slow down a team like that?
What impressed me most is how much they've improved throughout the season. We've watched tape early, we've watched tape mid-season, we've watched tape late, we watched tape conference tournament, and they just seem to be getting better and better. And that's a statement of the outstanding job that John has done. John has brought a group of young men in there and molded them into a team. That's not easy. Everyone thinks it's, oh, if I had those kind of players, I'd have a great team. It's not easy. And that's why he has done such a marvelous job as a coach, and that's why he's a Hall of Famer, because he's taken young men and put them together as a team, even though they were the stars. And I think he has a host of high school All-Americans, and yet now he has to mold that talent into a team. So hats off to John for accomplishing that, not just this year, but that's been a tradition that John has had wherever he has been.
How much do you guys still get Steph Curry around the program? And if I'm not mistaken, I believe Golden State has an off night tomorrow night. So do you expect him to make the trip up here?
Steph Curry is around our program 24 hours a day. The imprint that he put on our program is probably the greatest imprint that any alum could put on a program or a school. Davidson College, no matter where you go in the United States, across the world, the recognizable name is Steph Curry. And what's wonderful about that is that Stephen Curry has taken ownership of that. Stephen Curry has never, ever separated himself from the spirit of Davidson College. That was part of his upbringing. And you could look at article after article about his reference to that. In fact, on the court Sunday, as we had just won the tournament, we're sitting there on the benches waiting for the awards tables to be set up. Steph Curry called FaceTime and FaceTimed with our bench, and it was game day for the Golden State Warriors. And a shout out for Steph because today's his 30th birthday, so happy birthday, Steph.
More questions for Coach?
On those lines, you've watched how you've built your program from moving conferences and with the Steph Curry and to situations like this where you can play against a team like Kentucky and you're not an unknown. People know about the program. You've watched all that happen. What sort of pride does that give you in seeing that during your career?
When you're at a program, as long as I've been at a program, 28, 29 years, and you become part of that. You become part of that culture. And not only do you become part of it, because the connection for many of our players is through the program that I was a head coach in, they become part of it. So your family grows and grows and grows. And that family has become like an army. And to me, that is the greatest source of pride that people that were there in 1990, 1992, 1996, they're feeling as much a part of this. And that's the sense of Davidson College. There's an intimacy there, whether you're a basketball player or not, an intimacy that connects everybody. You drive down the interstate, you go into a shopping mall, you walk across a piazza in Europe, you walk along the beach in North Carolina, and you see someone with a Davidson shirt, a Davidson sticker on their car, and you try to pull up fast to that car or you try to stop that person to speak because there's somehow a connection. That's the extraordinary aspect of Davidson College.
More questions for Coach? All right. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you. I don't know. No, I don't think he'd have to ask me for tickets.
All right, as we welcome Buffalo student athletes Wes Clark, CJ Massenberg, and Nick Perkins to the stage, we'll remind you to please silence your cell phones in this area. Also, that pool reporters for this round are Bruce Pasco of the Arizona Daily Star and Adam Jardee of the Columbus Dispatch. And we'll remind you one more time to raise your hand if you have a question. We'll send the mic holders your way. And if you could direct questions to specific student athletes, that would be very helpful. And we'll go ahead and begin with questions for Buffalo student athletes.
Peter Huguenin of the Arbiter. Wes, $1 million question. How do you even begin to slow down an athlete like DeAndre Ayton?
We want to focus on making the catches hard, and just making him work for everything he's going to get tonight. We know that he's a force and, you know, one of the best players in the country, but we're not going to let that determine us from what we're trying to do and where we're trying to get.
Josh Reed with the CBS in Buffalo. CJ and Nick, you guys played in this tournament 2 years ago when you guys went to Providence. Last year you didn't make the tournament. How gratifying is it to be back here, and how much did you learn from the first time around?
CJ?
It's definitely an honor, you know, getting back to this tournament. You know, when you begin the season, you got one goal in mind, two goals actually, winning a conference tournament, and then the second goal, which is more important, is getting to this tournament and trying to get some wins. You know, we came up short last year, but that just gave us more hunger to get here this year.
Nick?
Pretty much what CJ said. You know, we came up short last year, and you know, we worked our butt off all summer and all spring and to get back here, and now we're here.
Heather Prusak from the NBC affiliate in Buffalo. This is really for any of you guys. How are you embracing that underdog role, given, you know, the tough task at hand?
Wes, we'll start with you.
I think the number one thing that we're doing is just trying to focus on playing one play at a time. You know, we're used to being, you know, the guys with the targets on our back. So for us to go out and hunt one time, I think it's fun.
CJ?
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, one thing that's kind of circulating around our locker room is just that we don't have any pressure on us. You know, we're not really expected to win this game. The numbers, everything's against us. You know, so we really don't have anything to lose. So we're not going out there with a bunch of pressure. Like, okay, we got to beat this team. We're gonna go out there and give it our all. And it's March, so you know, upsets happen.
Nick, anything to add?
To be honest, I really wouldn't even call it an upset for real. Like, we supposed to be here. Like, that's like we've been winning all year. We've been winning at a high level. Like, we supposed to be here. So ain't nothing surprise us. Like, we supposed to be here. We supposed to be in this game. I mean, if we win the game, I think it'd be great for us. If we lose the game, it is what it is. But we plan to win. We ain't here to, you know, just say we got here. We trying to win the game. So.
Andy Young from Spectrum News in Buffalo. Wes, you've known Nate for a long time. You played for him in high school. Just describe the type of man he is and the type of leader he is for this program.
Very confident, man, and a team coach. You know, like I had some coaches, not specifically, but I done had some coaches that where you felt like the disconnect between the coach and the players. Our coach does a great job with connecting with all the players. Like, I don't know one guy on the team that he doesn't have a great bond with. So just to have that family, you know, that family figure around and that type of effect is a different type of game, a different type of coach, and a different type of team.
Buffalo sport fans are sometimes known to be a little bit crazy, especially Bills fans. Is there any crossover with your guys' fans? And if so, could we see some fun fans here in Boise?
Wes, you want to take this one?
Oh man, these fans are great. I think they all the same, though, the Buffalo Bills fans and the Bulls fans. So I can't say that they'll be any different. But man, them guys are gonna be out there and they're gonna be going hard just for us, like they are in Buffalo, man.
CJ?
Oh yeah, yeah. We definitely have the greatest fans in the NCAA. We have one guy. we have a student section called True Blue. We have one guy that comes in speedos and is naked the whole game. He's called UB Naked Guy. He wears a cape or whatever, and it just shows just the personality of our fans and stuff, and we really appreciate them.
Nick, anything else?
They said it all.
For whichever one of you is the best politician, I'm doing something on it'd be a ton of neutral fans in the arena tomorrow. And what would your pitch be to the people of Boise? Why they should get behind Buffalo? What stands out about your program or your team that people might like?
Just to the neutral fans. Everybody likes I wouldn't say a Cinderella story, but people like to root for the underdogs. Any neutral fans, if you like hard-nosed, fierce competitors, don't back down from anybody type of guys, then hey, go ahead, root for us. You'll see what we bring to the table, and we're very easy to cheer for.
And we got a great group of guys. A lot of guys, that's handsome. That's nice. You'll enjoy coming to watch us. We're going to play hard. We're going to fight. We're going to look nice at the same time. That's a fact.
More questions? Nothing more? I want to hear more about how these guys look when they play. All right, thank you, guys. We'll wait for Coach Oates here in just a moment. we were pretty good last year. All right, we welcome Coach Oates to the dais, and we'll remind you to please raise your hand when you have a question. I'll direct a mic your direction. If you'd silence your cell phones, that would be great. And let's go ahead and begin questions for Coach Oates.
Question. Oh, there we go. $1 million question. How do you even begin to slow down DeAndre?
That is $1 million question. No, everybody in the Pac-12 hasn't figured it out. So I've got a few friends that coach there. I've talked to them. I mean, he's definitely the number one pick in the draft. From what everybody's saying, you can see it when you watch film. I mean, he's 7'1", 260, and moves like a guard. So, it's not going to be that easy. I think you got to limit his touches as much as possible. When he does get it, you can't just play one-on-one. I mean, there's some pretty good bigs in our league that we've kind of just told our guys, look, if he gets it, you're just going to have to guard him. Well, that's not going to work with him. So you're going to have to double. Then you got to pick your poison on who and where you double from. And you just you're going to have to play hard. I told our guys, it gets to this time of the year, like, you ain't getting an easy team. You're going to play some team with some players. So we're going to have to figure it out. We're going to have to play a little bit harder than them and, figure it out. Well, we got option A, B, C, and D, and we'll see. We'll rifle through them and see what's working the best.
Hey, Coach, Josh Reed with the CBS station in Buffalo. Earlier, Coach Cal was asked if he had watched any video yet of Arizona. His answer and his response was, I haven't watched it yet because UB's a great team, and if you've seen film on them, you'd know that. Yes, A, what does that say about what people think your chances are against Arizona? And B, how nice is it to hear what Coach Cal had to say about your program?
Listen, when we played at Kentucky, my last year as the assistant, when Bobby was head coach, and we were up on them at the half, and then, played them pretty tough. After the game, I actually talked to Cal a little bit. He was super complimentary of just how hard we played and the whole deal. So I know, and he said, let's bring you down here every year. Well, yeah, that hasn't happened. But I do respect the fact that he, will be humble enough to talk about our program that way. And we played him tough the only time we played him. So I don't know if he's actually watched us, but, he gave the right answer on that, not assume that anybody's going to win. But, my guess would be they're putting a little bit more time into Arizona than us. But it is nice he said that. And I do think we have a shot. We're going to have to do some stuff right. We're going to have to make some shots. We're going to have to – their depth is not quite as good as ours. And we're fifth in the country in possession length on offense, so it's not like we got to do something we don't do. We're going to speed them up, but we've been speeding people up all year, and so we're going to play our game and tweak a few little things. There's no DeAndre Ayton's on our schedule, so we're going to have to change a few things, to deal with him. But other than that, we don't have to change who we are. Like, who we are is more than capable of beating them, and I think people know that. I think that's why you got a guy like Jay Billis that, talked about might be the best 4 seed in the history of 4 seeds, and, putting them at a 4 doesn't necessarily screw them. It screws their opponent because people know we've got a chance to win some games. I still think we got a chance too. Like earlier in the season, we went to the NCAA tournament 2 years in a row, didn't make it last year. We talk about getting to the tournament and then winning some games. So, even if you're at 12, if you want to get to the second weekend, you have to beat a 5 then a 4. Well, if you're 13, you got to beat a 4 and then a 5. So it is what it is. You're going to have to play some good teams, and I think we'll be ready to go tomorrow night.
Heather Prusak from WGRZ-TV, the embassy in Buffalo. Coach, you said before when the matchups came out that you were going to exchange some scouting reports with Bobby Hurley. How much have you talked to him leading up to this?
Yeah, a few times. I mean, they played them pretty tough. They didn't get either win, but I think they showed enough stretches in there, what they wanted to do. It's just, you always know what you want to do against a team. Sometimes it's a little easier said than done, but I saw both their games live. I try to watch, they're on the West Coast, and you're up late at 11 o'clock, all of a sudden their game's on, you get to watch them. So I'd actually watched both their Arizona games live. I went back through and watched their second one, and I mean, there's no secrets here. DeAndre Ayton's a, force to deal with, but then they've got, Trier's a pro too, and Raleigh Alkins is a pro, and Ristich might be a pro, so it's not, they got 2 7-footers. You're not just dealing with one, so it's not like you can just deal with Ayton, but I do think, Bobby was on to some things when he played him, and they play similar to us too. I think I read somewhere Sean Miller talked about, us kind of playing like them, and so, they kind of know we're going to spread it like Arizona State did, but it was successful for Arizona State at stretches in the game. We just got to do a little bit better job than they did at some of the things they didn't do so well on.
Coach was been asking some of the teams, why should the people of Boise get behind their team? And your guys said it's because they fight really hard, they play really hard, but they also look really good doing it because they got a lot of good-looking guys on the team. I wonder your thoughts on that scouting report.
Perkins takes 1 million selfies a day, so I'm sure that's what he said. I'll have to ask him about that. But the reason they should get behind us is we play together. We share the ball. We're like, we don't play a bunch of isolation basketball, and it's fun. And I think, we're obviously teams want to cheer for the underdogs, so we're a little bit, you're seeing DeAndre Ayton. You don't see too many of those guys in college basketball now. So, but I will say this: our group's a really fun group. They love playing with each other. They're a fun group. They legitimately want their teammates to do well. Like CJ struggled in the MAC tournament, and he was really happy for Jeremy and Wes, and he just told them, look, my shot's not dropping. I'm going to do something to make sure we win this game, and he came up with some big rebounds. And, when somebody gets going, they start cheering for him, and our guys on the bench that don't play a lot, that really could play, and a lot of teams really pull for the guys that are in there. Nick had to get himself calmed down there in the MAC championship, and he had Brock Bertram, who hasn't played a whole lot, but it's a really good big that, could be playing a lot in a lot of places over there, getting in Nick's ear, getting him right. And guys legitimately want each other to do well, and it's fun to pull for a group like that.
Nate, Andy Young from Spectrum News in Buffalo. Your guys have talked a lot this week about not having a lot of pressure on them, which is different from sort of how it was during the regular season in the tournament when you were favorites for much of the year to win the conference tournament. How do you change that mindset one game to the next, going from expecting to win the MAC championship to saying, we don't have any pressure on us and we're just coming out to play and hopefully come out with a win?
Well, shoot, we started the conference 8-0, and people were writing about guys going, running the table, and I was trying to slow them down, let them know that's, been in this conference a long time. Like, it's hard to win road games here. I think they got a little wake-up call. We dropped 3 out of 7, and so, but ever since we started 8-0, like, there's been pressure on them to win. Like, it's a disappointment if we weren't winning by double digits. So, it might be a relief now. Look, finally somebody else is picked. Like, this might be the first game in 20-plus games where we weren't supposed to be the winner. So, but, it might be nice coming in as the underdog and just play with a little bit more freedom, so to speak. But there is still a little pressure on us. So, because we talked early in the year about we've been to this tournament twice in the last 3 years. This is the 3rd time in 4 now. Like, it's time to start getting some wins. So, we've been here, done that, got the participation trophy deal. Like, there's still some pressure to come in here and not just play well, because we played well the last 2 times. I mean, it was 1 or 2 possessions in the last minute both times we were here, and at least I feel a little bit of pressure that we need to get a win. I don't think it's bad to have a little bit of pressure. Now, it's a different kind of pressure than it's been for the last 20 some odd games, though. You're right.
Could you describe your relationship a little bit in detail? We know about Wes Clark and your history with him, but also maybe that trust that you have in him and having him come in halfway through the year, what it's brought your team.
Yeah, so everybody probably knows I coached the kid in high school. I love the kid to death. He's a competitor and a warrior. I mean, he's got plenty of stories from high school we could talk for an hour about. But, we brought him in here, and I just told everybody bringing him in, my assistants, administration, when you talk about bringing him in, like, why should you bring him in? And you talk about all the positives with him. He obviously had some stuff going on at Missouri, but I knew him well enough and trust him well enough, and he's been unbelievably great since he's walked on campus. But he's been in the program for 1.5 years now, like going on 1.5 years at the end of the semester. Like, he came at the semester and he had to sit a whole year. So he played with our guys all last year, from January on, all this year until he got eligible in December. So it's not like you just threw a kid in they didn't know. They knew him well. He had been kind of dominating them on the scout team for a year now. And they finally, when he got moved over off the scout team with them, they were like, yeah, come on, we come play with us so we don't have to guard you every day in practice. So, but he's a great kid. He's not one of those he knows he's really good. He's got a lot of confidence. He's got swagger to him, but he's not an arrogant, all about me. He's all about winning is what he's about. So it's easy to throw a kid that's all about winning in with another group of kids that's all about winning. So CJ and Nick want to win. Jeremy wants to win. Devontae Jordan's did an unbelievable job as a starting point guard, but he's a winner more than anything. So you throw him in with a group like that, and it works pretty well. So it kind of seems like it was real seamless. Throw him in, and we just played really well and kept this thing kind of rolling. But, there's a lot of work, a lot of friendships built, a lot of camaraderie built over the last year before he actually got to play in a game.
Nate, what effect did bringing in Coach Hodson have as far as recruiting and things like that, and having a guy out there to bring in some of these talented players that you've been able to do?
Yeah, Carruthers, played for him at Midland. You got Jeremy Harris, who's been pretty dang good. Montel McCrae's been great for us. Blake Hamilton was pretty good. Got us to the tournament our first year. Willie Connor, Kadiri, Devontae Jordan. All that stuff that kind of we went national with the recruiting. A lot of that's him. So as far as what the roster looks like, he's been super big with it, just integral to the whole. He's a great guy. If you get to know him well, he's personable and doesn't have a big ego. He works really hard at building the relationships, and he had been working hard at building them until we got him. He's a Western New York guy. So to have a Western New York guy on staff, and he's all Bills everything, and all the annoying Bills fans, that's him. But it's easy to sell Western New York and Buffalo when you're from that, and he's been doing an unbelievable job at it for 3 years. Shoot, they're actually turning me. I'm becoming a Bills fan. I grew up in Wisconsin, so you got to be a Packer fan. You can never leave that. But the whole Bills Mafia thing's been growing on me. They made the playoffs this year, so most of that's been Brian. So if he can sell me on the Bills, he can probably sell some recruits on Buffalo Bulls basketball too.
All right, you brought up Bills fans. Any chance we see any Bulls fans going through tables in the parking lot tomorrow?
Yeah, they didn't ban selling folding tables out here in Boise for the deal. Listen, if we get the win, I'm sure somebody's going to dive through a folding table after the game.
Last question right here.
Bills just signed quarterback A.J. McCarron. It was just announced. What do you think of that move? Yeah. Is that the good move? Is that the veteran, or do they need to draft a guy still?
They got to draft somebody.
Right, they got to.
Man, they need options.
They do.
AJ can be one of that. They need.
It's been a drought at quarterback.
They need to have a quarterback battle through the entire preseason, and then somebody earns it. That's my opinion. Not that I know anything about football.
Draft prospectus. Thank you very much, Coach.
Thanks.